Hey friends, it's David coming back at you from Zone 5B in the southwest suburbs of Chicago, Illinois, and I am back in the grow room because I wanted to tell you guys about a little experiment that I unintentionally ran over the last month or so as my fans kick off. So, if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that I was attempting to grow sweet potatoes. I went to the grocery store and I bought a bag of organic sweet potatoes. And sweet potatoes are not actually related at all to regular potatoes, and they are grown completely differently. For a regular potato, you can take that potato, put it in the ground, or grow sprouts on it first called chits, and then plant it in the ground, and a potato plant will grow up from that. For sweet potatoes, they're done a little bit differently. You need to grow plants which are called slips. I've done this before in the past. I wasn't really sure how to do it correctly, and there are two regularly accepted methods of growing these slips. One of them is to take a sweet potato, put it in a tray, like one of my trays back here, cover it halfway up with some kind of potting soil or medium that you keep moist, keep it humid, keep it warm, and sprouts will grow on the sweet potato. I did that. That is the first method that I tried this year. And lo and behold, it was successful. I had two trays, and each tray had two sweet potatoes in there. And I got a large number of slips off of one of those sweet potatoes. The other three didn't sprout for me at all, but it was still a success because it did give me enough slips to grow the sweet potatoes that I want to grow. Because I'm an impatient person, I went ahead and tried the second method as well, and that method involves suspending a sweet potato in a jar of water so the tip of the sweet potato is in the water. This is another one of the sweet potatoes. All of the sweet potatoes came from the same bag. This potato did give me one or two shoots, slips, but this one shows you just what is possible when you slip your sweet potatoes in this way. Each one of these can be popped off of the potato and then put either in a jar of water or into the soil so it roots. And then each one of these can be a sweet potato plant that goes in your garden. So again, there are two viable methods to grow your sweet potato slips. Which is better? That really depends on you and how you want to grow. For my money, you see the roots on the sweet potato. I feel that this method was easier and required less maintenance. With the jar method, all I had to do is make sure that the water stayed up towards the bottom of the sweet potato, where with the soil, I was constantly checking to make sure the soil was moist enough and it didn't dry out. So both are very, very easy methods. Both are valuable methods, and I got results out of it. But in the future, I think I might just do the jar of water method. While we are here, let me give you a quick tour around the garden room so you can see how everything is growing. And over here, I have an abundance, a green forest, if you will, of tomato plants. Now, I do have to say that some of these I started off a little early. So over here, they are huge. I have some that are a couple feet long. And the thing that tells me that I started it too early is, like with this one right here, you can see flowers growing, there it is, on the tomato plant. And that means that it's stressed out. The tomato plants are too big for the containers that I have them in, and it's still too chilly outside for me to move them outside. So I will pop those flowers off of there, and I will look into repotting those in slightly bigger containers to make it through the rest of the weeks until my warm weather is here to keep those outside. Now, tomatoes can survive some cooler weather, even some light frosts, but it will definitely slow down the growth. So you kind of have to weigh what's more valuable, growing quickly or getting them outside, getting them in the ground and established, and hopefully once the warm weather kicks in, they'll take off. As far as everything else goes, I have a ton of pepper plants. I have some kohlrabi plants here, which is my first year growing kohlrabi. I am super excited about these little sprouts next to the kohlrabi because those are my tamarillos. So tamarillo is something that I tried to grow 2 years ago and I had success. I grew 2 tamarillo plants. They turned into little trees, but at the end of the year, I ended up losing them, and then I couldn't get any to sprout last year. So I'm very excited about that. In my little garden tray here, these 2 giant green plants are actually peanuts. So I am growing peanuts this year. It's still a little early to get those out in the yard as well, but I didn't start those too soon. And everything else is in various stages of growth. So I am very, very excited. Here we have a giant pepper, and this is a lilac bell pepper. And one of the things that I've noticed, and you might have just seen it on camera, is I have a whitefly infestation. So I did buy some neem oil. I'm going to treat the rest of the plants with that. It probably came in one of the bags of the soil that I have here, and it's not unusual to get whiteflies or fungus gnats because of the soil. So I will treat it to try to make sure that it doesn't cause more damage to the plants that I have growing in here. The only other thing is, once your plants are as big as mine are getting, you do need to make sure that you are fertilizing as well, because they are all pretty big. So I do give them a half dose of a liquid fertilizer every other week or so. And then over here for my indoor grow, you can see I have more tomatoes growing on the plants. And I don't know if you can see it. You get down here by the bucket. And there we go. I have more growing right there. Those are smaller cherry type tomatoes. The one plant is a patio cherry tomato, and the other is my honeycomb hybrid. And I am super excited. Let's see if I can get you a shot of it, because back there in my bucket, I actually have some cucumbers growing. Those are parthenocarpic, so they don't need any pollination. They grow mostly female flowers. They can pollinate themselves. So that is very, very exciting. So that is a quick update on how things are growing here in Zone 5B in the house where we have our controlled conditions. Things are looking really, really good, and we are very excited to finally get outside where we can let these things really run wild. Thank you guys for joining me today. Remember to hit that like button. It helps the channel and my videos. Subscribe so you know when I post my next video. I hope you all remember to never stop growing. Grow a little every day. And I can't wait to see you guys all back here again real soon on Come Grow with Dave Day. See you guys next week.